So nice to see you. Hopefully we'll see you in person tomorrow as well. And for those that I don't know, welcome. We're excited to have you as well. And hopefully we're able to connect tomorrow. Next slide. For those who don't know me, I'm Chelsea Harnish. I am the Executive Director of the Virginia Energy Efficiency Council. So I'm going to run through the agendas for today and for tomorrow very quickly, and thank our sponsors, and then hand it over. We do have a special message from Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan. And then my colleague, Rebecca Hoy, will be talking a little bit about the federal work that we've been doing, as well as some providing federal updates and initiating a poll that will really help us and Virginia Energy inform the work that they're doing with the rebate programs. After that, we will have our first breakout sessions. You can choose to either go on the panel about data centers, or we have one on best practices for workforce success. There will then be a brief break, followed by breakout sessions number 2, which will be inclusive decarbonization and how are we talking about energy efficiency, followed by closing remarks. For tomorrow, a reminder that tomorrow is in person at the University of Richmond. That does also begin at 1 p.m. Our keynote address will be by Angela Navarro with ALN Policy and Law. She's also a Virginia former commissioner on the State Corporation Commission here in Virginia. After she speaks, we will have a networking break, then our single plenary of the day about multifamily topics, followed by our leadership awards ceremony, closing remarks, and then a networking reception. So looking forward to seeing many of you in person tomorrow. We could not do any, just kidding. This is a QR code to the digital event program. So it does include the agendas I just ran through. It includes speaker bios, information on the panels, and also our award winners. So if you want to get a sneak peek to see who's winning an award, you can check that out at the link or at the QR code. Next slide. We cannot do this without all of our sponsors. Our platinum sponsor this year is Dominion Energy, so we appreciate their support. Followed by Community Housing Partners, as well as Michaels Energy, Columbia Gas, Washington Gas, and Project Homes. Also Appalachian Power, TRC, and Franklin Energy, as well as ICF, Optimum Performance Solutions, Siemens, and Rappahannock Electric Cooperative. I also want to thank my staff. We could not do this without a full team. And so first, I would like to mention Erica Reel. She is our newest staff member. Erica is our Workforce Program Director. She joined us over the summer and is based in Hampton Roads. She will be moderating our workforce panel today. So we are very excited for Erica to start meeting our members. Well, she's been meeting members and meeting all of you. She will be with us tomorrow. So please connect with her if you have any interest or want to talk workforce. Next, Rebecca Hoy, as I mentioned, she's going to be coming up after our welcome message from Congresswoman McClellan, talking about our federal work, federal updates. She also handles all of our technology, anything related to technology, but also our actual technology that we use. And finally, Jessica Green, who is our Director of Events and Digital Media. Without Jessica's help, while it is absolutely a staff effort, a team effort, Jessica is the one that puts all of this together. And unfortunately, reluctantly, I let everyone know that Jessica is leaving us. But she's not going far. She is going to be Virginia Energy's new energy efficiency outreach coordinator. So we are very excited that we will be continuing to work with her in a new capacity. but we are very sad to see her leaving our team. And Friday is her last day. So she promised she would stay on for the forum. She kept that promise, but she is leaving us in 2 days. So please, when you see her tomorrow, congratulate her and wish her well. Next slide. So, because Energy Efficiency Day is today, we would love for you all to turn on your cameras so we can take a photo and share to social media. And we hope that all of you will share on your social medias that we are all here today supporting energy efficiency. Yay. I have a full screen. Okay. And I'm gonna count to three, and then everyone wave your hands. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for participating. Like I said, we will share that on our social medias, and we hope that you will share that as well. We also thought it would be fun to share. I will wait for the screen sharing to start again. I don't think we let them know we were doing this, but Michael's Energy had some fun things on their website that we just thought would be fun to share for Energy Efficiency Day. Here we go, screen sharing is starting. So they had something on their website called Karaoke Mashup. Next slide. I'm not going to sing for you today. We're not going to ask anyone else to either. But we really did appreciate that they were able to take well-known songs and turn them into themes for energy efficiency. So please screenshot this, save it for yourselves. I think it's pretty hilarious, but they have one for Whip It from Devo, Living on a Prayer from Bon Jovi, Jolene from Dolly Parton, and White Christmas from Bing Crosby. So we love when our members get really creative with energy efficiency. Sometimes it's hard to do. So well done. This was fun and we are excited to share it. Next slide. And so next will be our keynote address, which will be a brief recorded message from Representative McClellan, and again, followed by federal updates and a poll with Rebecca. And I will see you at the end and definitely tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your day. We don't hear it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan here, and I'm excited to join you virtually for a few minutes for the Virginia Energy Efficiency Forum. Thank you to the Virginia Energy Efficiency Council for hosting today's important discussion and for your ongoing leadership to bolster energy efficiency. I commend you for your tireless efforts to foster dialogue, share resources, and dismantle barriers to energy efficiency throughout Virginia. As we work to address the worsening climate crisis, reduce our carbon footprint and emissions, accelerate our transition to a greener, more sustainable future, and meet the goals of the Virginia Clean Economy Act, energy efficiency will play an invaluable role in our collective efforts by reducing energy demand. And it's clear we must take immediate, decisive action to address the worst impacts of climate change and protect vulnerable communities who are disproportionately impacted by environmental degradation. We know energy efficiency is one of the most cost-effective and readily available ways to combat climate change, protect air quality, and reduce energy costs for consumers. That's why the Biden-Harris administration and congressional Democrats took historic actions over the past 3.5 years to bolster energy efficiency efforts across industries. Through the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, Americans nationwide are experiencing the tremendous benefits of these historic bills. Through the Inflation Reduction Act, Americans have the ability to make their homes more energy efficient while claiming federal tax credits and deductions that will help reduce energy costs and demand, which is imperative, particularly as we transition to cleaner energy sources. Nationwide, $8.8 billion is now available to states to support home energy rebate programs, which will provide rebates to low and middle income families to buy and install cost-saving electric appliances, heat pumps, new insulation, air sealing, and more. The Biden-Harris administration continues to roll out various tax credits and grants for businesses, local governments, and localities to promote energy efficiency upgrades and the use of renewable electricity. For example, the City of Richmond recently received over $260,000 in energy efficiency and conservation block grants to provide energy efficient assistance to low-income households. These upgrades will help lower costs and improve public health outcomes for vulnerable populations in Richmond. Our continued efforts to combat the climate crisis also poses incredible economic and workforce development opportunities for communities across the nation. According to the United States Energy and Employment Report of 2023, energy efficiency firms added the most jobs of any technology in 2023 and supported nearly 2.3 million jobs. In Congress, I'm a member of the Sustainable Energy and Environmental Coalition, or SEEC. In February, I sent a letter with my SEEC Climate Jobs Task Force colleagues to the Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, and the Department of Energy's 21st Century Energy Workforce Advisory Board, urging them to develop a report that includes recommendations to strengthen and diversify the clean energy workforce. In our letter, we urged DOE to prioritize workforce strategies that serve underrepresented groups, address barriers to workforce participation, support prevailing wage standards, and other important steps to ensure historically underrepresented communities have the opportunity to benefit from these burgeoning industries. As a member of SEEC and a long-term climate advocate, I will continue fighting back against any efforts to roll back the energy efficiency progress we have made under the Biden-Harris administration, such as bills introduced this year to restrict DOE's ability to set energy efficiency standards for home appliances. Thank you to the Virginia Energy Efficiency Council for hosting today's forum and for this important discussion. Please know you always have a champion in me, and my door is always open. I look forward to the next time we can meet in person. Good afternoon.
Great. So I know that she is not here to receive our thanks in person, but I do want to thank Congresswoman McClellan for her message. As she mentioned, the Inflation Reduction Act and bipartisan infrastructure law have both moved the needle considerably on energy efficiency adoption and workforce development. But if you've been coming to our forums for the last few years, you know this is not the first, second, or third time that these landmark laws have come up. The rollout of funding has been notoriously slow, and I know you're probably all tired of hearing about heat pumps and tax credits. However, there is a light on the horizon, and we know progress is coming. We know that Virginia Energy is selecting a vendor for the program design and implementation of the home energy rebate programs in the coming weeks. The Training Residential Energy Contractor program should launch in Q1 of next year, and if the state is awarded the competitive funds for the Energy Auditor Training Program, that will also launch in early 2025. Many Virginia localities have received community development block grants towards workforce development, economic development, and improved housing and indoor air quality. And as many of you know, Richmond Public Schools, working alongside several VAEEC members, was awarded $15.3 million through the Renew America School program. Like the Congresswoman said, the City of Richmond is one of 6 localities that have received Energy Efficiency Conservation Block Grant, or EECBG funds. But the EECBGs don't actually stop there. In addition to funding localities across the country, Virginia Energy was also awarded some funding. With that, they are working with the VAEEC and other members and partners to develop the One Stop Shop program. This is intended to be a centralized information hub for contractors and consumers to identify all of the different incentives, tax credits, federal rebates, and utility programs available to them, with the goal of making it easier for Virginians to access energy efficiency upgrades. Many of you have been clamoring for a tool like this for years, and we're very excited to see it become a reality. And since we have a few minutes, I'm happy to take some questions in chat if you have any about the federal funding progress that we're seeing. Let me open the chat. All right. Seeing no questions at this moment, I will move right along then. So you're at the Virginia Energy Efficiency Council Fall Energy Efficiency Forum. So I don't need to tell you that energy efficiency is awesome. You're here as an involved member of the industry and you're doing the work. So this is why we need your help. As part of our partnership with Virginia Energy, we want to hear from you. On your screen, you'll see a QR code and website for a quick live poll to gather pertinent information from industry leaders like you. We'll also have more opportunities to poll and engage tomorrow in the in-person event at the University of Richmond's Jepson Alumni Center, and we hope to see you there. If you've pulled up the poll, we'll go through just a few questions. So pull out your phone. I know that's usually against the rules when you're in an event like this, but I'm actually going to. I can't. Oh, maybe I can. I was going to see if I could pull it up on the screen, but. All right, bear with me for a moment. We're having minor technical moments. All right, thanks for bearing with me. My attempts to pull the poll up onto the screen were not terribly successful, but you can see it on your phone, on your screen. And so if you would be willing to start answering with that first question, let's take a couple of minutes. The first question is, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much will your organization plan to engage with Virginia's home energy rebate programs? We'll just let that go for a couple minutes while we get answers rolling in. Okay. Great. We'll move to the second question, which is, as you can see, how does your organization plan to engage in Virginia's home energy rebate programs? Are y'all able to get to that second question? Anybody having issues?
I don't see it, Rebecca. I'm being told that the presenter hasn't changed the slides yet. I don't know about anybody else.
Let
Same.
me do that then. Okay. Are you able to get to the second slide now?
No.
No, I'm still seeing the first slide.
Okay, let me. Okay, any success now?
There we go. Yes.
Okay, great. This is both the most intuitive and least intuitive IT tool we've used in a while. Let's give that another minute or two here. Also, just for your information, these polls will stay live for the next 7 days. So if you have an epiphany in the next couple of days or have something that you remembered that you wanted to add, you will have that opportunity. All right, looks like we're slowing down. So we'll move to the next question. Rank the most effective ways to share updates on Virginia's home energy rebate programs. Are y'all seeing it or are we having the same issue? Okay, there we go. All right. Looks like we're slowing down again. Give the last couple people an opportunity. And let's move to our last question for today. As I mentioned, we'll have 2 more polling opportunities tomorrow during the in-person meeting. Great. So our final question is, which strategy for reaching your consumers or members has been the most effective? And please begin your response with your organization name. I'll let this one kick off. All right, we'll give this just another maybe 30 seconds because we do need to move into our breakout sessions. And it looks like we are once again slowing down on responses. All right. Great. Well, thank you all so much for your help. Your feedback will be critical to the successful program design and implementation for the one-stop shop. So we very, very much appreciate you. As I mentioned, now it is time to move into the breakout rooms for our first set of panels: data center demand, how do we respond, and best practices for workforce success. Megan Partridge from Franklin Energy is gratefully wonderful, or we appreciate her for donating her time to help with some of our back-end IT today. And Jessica Green will also be on hand. If you have any technical issues, just drop them in the chat and someone will help you out. I'm about to open up the breakout rooms. And so that will go for 70 minutes, and then we will reconvene at 2:45 for a stretch break and our next set of panels. 3, 2, 1. Let's get these going. Are you making them or am I making them? Yep. All right. And rooms are opening. 3, 2, 1, go. Let us know if you have any problems.
Because if you were trying to talk, you were on mute.
Thanks for bearing with us, everyone. We will get the PowerPoint up and started in a second. All right, is everyone able to see that?
Yes, looks good.
Great. Well, I'm going to hand this off to our newest colleague, Erica Reel.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia Energy Efficiencies Fall Forum. This session is the best practices for workforce success. I guess next slide. Okay, today we'll be joined by Roxana Ayala, and excuse me if I pronounced that wrong, from ACEEE, Sherry Fulcher from Southern Air, and Dan Taylor from the Blue Green Alliance. I guess next slide. Okay, just to give you a little background information on what Virginia Energy has been working on in the last year. Many of you know that recently they launched an energy efficiency workforce initiative. I joined in June of 2024, and since then I've hit the ground running in the Hampton Roads area. So the Hampton Roads area was chosen for several reasons. First, under new federal funding guidelines, called the Justice 40 Initiative, 40% of federal funding benefits must go to disadvantaged communities. According to the latest census data, the average poverty rate of the 6 major cities in Hampton Roads, Norfolk, Newport News, Hampton, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, and Virginia Beach, is 13.4%, which is currently over the national average. The data also shows that there's a huge demand for weatherization services in Hampton Roads. There's currently a massive backlog of work, which means providers and their subcontractors will need to hire en masse quickly. Currently, weatherization providers are located outside of the region. Many of our providers are traveling in from the Richmond area, and the goal is to increase the amount of locally based providers in an attempt to reduce the backlog in this area, and that would be the backlog for weatherization services. Additionally, we're excited about this partnership between Tidewater Community College and Trane Technologies. They have partnered to deliver a new HVAC training program at the Skilled Trades Academy in Portsmouth to provide both classroom and hands-on training. This is a perfect opportunity for EEWI to support the HVAC training in the region. Next slide. So, as I said, I've hit the ground running. So in the first 3 months of the Energy Efficiency Workforce Initiative program, we are providing support services to 7 participants living or working in the Hampton Roads area. We've established partnerships with community-based and government organizations that refer program participants. We have identified several employment partners that will assist with job opportunities for our program participants. Next slide. Okay. So we're gonna pass it off to Roxana, and she's gonna talk about the how Philadelphia is preparing its workforce to deliver home energy upgrades.
Sure. Thank you, Erica. And can you hear me? Just good. Perfect. Hello, everyone. I hope you all have been enjoying your day so far and having a great start to fall. Thank you to the Virginia Energy Efficiency Council for the invitation. As mentioned, my name is Roxana Ayala, and I'm calling in from Washington, D.C., so not too far. Next slide, please. Cool. I work for the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy, but we're also known as ACEEE. We are a nonprofit research organization focused on advancing energy efficiency throughout all sectors of the economy. I currently serve as a senior research analyst for the local policy program, and a lot of my work consists of conducting research and technical assistance related to energy equity and workforce development. Next slide, please. So again, just a little bit about myself here. Next slide. So for today's agenda, I want to discuss a Philadelphia-based workforce training program that prepares individuals for clean energy jobs, such as retrofit technicians, energy inspectors, solo electricians, and HVAC technicians. And ACEEE drafted a case study on the specific training program. And this program has elements that can be replicated to scale up the equitable development of a workforce. We'll see how the program's technical training and wraparound services have set up individuals for success, how it also offers an internship to increase an individual's career readiness, and how the program implementer has developed partnerships with employers and organizations to build capacity for a successful program. Next slide. Next slide, please. So a little bit of background of the program. In 2016, the Philadelphia Energy Authority, also known as PEA, launched the Philadelphia Energy Campaign to scale up clean energy and energy efficiency projects. And within this campaign, they also included a goal to create 10,000 jobs over the next 10 years. So to reach this goal, PEA developed several workforce initiatives, one of them being the Philadelphia-based training program that I'm speaking about today, which is called the Green Retrofit Immersive Training Program, so GRIT. And GRIT is a 18-week paid training program with 3 core components, which include technical skills training with wraparound services to help individuals overcome employment barriers, an internship to gain hands-on experience, and job placement support. So PA recruits individuals into this program twice a year through the support of council members that distribute flyers to the constituents about 6 to 8 weeks before the start of the program or the cohort of that year. And the flyers do include a QR code to an application that individuals can fill out. And then if selected, all individuals undergo an interview. Next slide. So PA contracts a local training service provider to provide classroom training to participants at their training center facility. So during the first 12 weeks of the program, participants attend an intensive lab training Monday through Friday to gain the technical skills and prepare them for several nationwide industry certifications, such as the ones included here, which can include OSHA 10 and 40, EPA's RRP, BPI's WHASI, and also the training center also updates the curriculum as needed to meet the skills needed for the available local jobs. And we'll learn a little bit about that in a later slide. So the GRIT program has also taken steps to proactively consider the participants' needs for additional support, such as transportation support or career readiness support. And so during the first 12 weeks of the program, every Friday, program participants receive wraparound services. And so to provide these services, PA contracted 2 local nonprofit organizations, and these organizations have helped participants, again, with job preparedness, job career planning, coaching, and so some examples include helping them write resumes, create LinkedIn profiles, prepare for interviews. Some have also offered counseling services, and again, just support for career planning. And so PA noted that dedicating time to really successfully identify the organizations to deliver both the technical training and wraparound services and really build relationships with these organizations has helped them better align their program with the local context of the types of skills and jobs and how to best address the workforce challenges within the local workforce landscape. Next slide, please. So in the final 6 weeks of the program, participants are placed in an internship with the trade center, and participants can select to either work on a residential or commercial property. And through this project, they have the opportunity, again, to apply the skills that they learned during the first 12 weeks of the training. So for example, participants in the past have completed various tasks such as installing HVAC system, laying wires, inspecting a home's plumbing and electricity system, or installing drywall. Next slide, please. So PA found success in developing relationships with employers like contracting businesses and organizations such as the Association for Electricians, and they do so to connect program graduates to career opportunities. They know that the program is most successful when you are able to place individuals into jobs after training. And so they have pursued several strategies to identify and connect with potential employers. One such strategy is hosting networking sessions where they will select 5 to 6 local employers and invite them to these sessions. And the way that PA has identified these employers has been by attending business events, engaging with the local industry advisory board, or also connecting, again, with the local associations. And so when these employers come to these networking events, the PA teaches the employers about the GRIP program, the program goals, and also shares with them the training or the training curriculum. And at this event, PA really encourages employers to offer feedback to the curriculum to ensure that the participants are, again, gaining the skills required by local employers. So by the time they graduate, again, they're able to train people for real jobs. Next slide, please. So in 2023, PA ran its 4th cohort since the launch of the program in 2021. In that same year, 21 of the 23 GRIP program participants successfully completed the training and their internships. And since the launch of the program has seen a total of 57 participants graduate, with more enrolled in the program this year. And program graduates have gone to pursue various employment. For example, some have gone to work with the local utility, others have gained entry-level clean energy jobs with wages starting at $17 per hour. Others have become entrepreneurs, and others have also have received employment with contracting crews working on other PA initiatives, looking to retrofit homes as well. And then some have also gone to work in adjacent industries, such as working for a manufacturer or working in sales. Next slide, please. So the GRIP program is a model that can be replicated to grow a robust, equitable workforce that can respond to the growing demand for home retrofits, the clean energy investments. The program's core components have demonstrated how participants can enrich their professional development. And it also highlights the ways that other program administrators can begin to build relationships with employers or local organizations to help connect graduates for long-term job placements. So for those on the call, I hope that this program model has been helpful to learn about, and hopefully either one or all 3 core components can be replicated or integrated into a program you're thinking about or working on. So next slide. So thank you for your time and attention. I've included my contact information here in case anyone is interested in reaching out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roxana. And for those, Roxana is a senior research analyst with the American Council for Energy energy efficient economy. She conducts research, writing, and technical support on a local level, energy efficiency policies and initiatives with a focus on energy equity and workforce development. So if you have any questions, we'll get to the questions at the end, but if you want to drop them in the chat. And if Roxana, if you can drop your contact information in the chat so that people can access you. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to Sherry Fulcher. Now, Sherry is the Personal Development Coordinator for Southern Air. In her previous role as Registered Apprenticeship Consultant, Sherry worked with local businesses to develop customized training programs to upskill their workers. With recognized strengths in youth registered apprenticeship, she became the Youth Registered Apprenticeship subject matter expert, as well as developed the first ever youth registered apprenticeship programs at Acmat and Bedford counties. Sherry has also developed and fostered relationships with local workforce boards, high schools, community colleges, technical centers, and utilize relationships to connect businesses with educational services to aid in upskilling their workforce. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Erica. Good afternoon, everyone. As Eric stated, my name is Sherry Fulcher. I am the Personnel Development Coordinator with Southern Air located in Lynchburg, Virginia. We are a large construction company. We do everything construction minus erecting the buildings. We do plumbing, HVAC, some industrial maintenance, plumbing and whatnot. Previous to this role, I was a registered apprenticeship consultant with Virginia Works. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about registered apprenticeship and how it can help grow your own talent, upskill your current employees, as well as use it as a recruiting and retention tool. Next slide, please. So exactly what is registered apprenticeship? Registered apprenticeship is a voluntary and employer-driven occupation-specific structured training program that combines supervised, paid on-the-job training and related technical instruction or classroom studies that support the work experience. This program was established in 1937 with the passage of the Fitzgerald Act. So that paragraph is a really fancy way of saying you're going to train your employees on the job. They're going to take some classes that reinforce what they're learning on the job, and then they're going to be rewarded for their skills gains, which we'll discuss that on a later slide. Next slide, please. So before the passage of the Fitzgerald Act, many industries relied on informal training methods. This varied in quality and consistency. Registered apprenticeships aimed to create a formal system that ensured workers were trained to specific standards, leading to higher quality workmanship and consistency across all industries. Today, all the same facts are true, but the program is also instrumental in attacking labor shortages. There is a growing need for skilled workers, and apprenticeships help meet this demand by producing workers with the skills necessary to support industry and the economy. Next slide, please. So programs vary in length. They can be anywhere from 1 year to 6 years in length. So every 2,000 hours is basically equal to 1 year of full-time employment. The average length of a program is 8,000 hours or 4 years. For every year that someone participates in a registered apprenticeship program, they're going to get, of course, the 2,000 hours of on-the-job training. And for every year of training that they're getting on the job, they're going to receive 144 hours of related technical instruction. Related technical instruction can be received at a community college, a technical center, or an in-house program. And completion of all on-the-job training and related technical instruction results in a portable and nationally recognized credential that can lead to licensure depending upon the occupation of choice. Next slide, please. So if you're an employer and you're curious about how to build a program, registered apprenticeship starts with identifying the occupation or occupations that will be taught in your program. For example, here at Southern Air, we do programs for plumbing, HVAC, and electrical, as well as sheet metal mechanic. So you can do multiple programs. It doesn't have to be just one. Currently, there are over 1,200 occupations that are apprenticeable, and Virginia is currently utilizing roughly about 400 of those. So there's a lot of room for expansion and growth. The next step, you would contact and work with your local registered apprenticeship consultant to begin building your program. You can find your consultant by visiting the Virginia Works website. It has all of the consultants in the areas that they're assigned to, as well as their email addresses and phone numbers. Next, you'd want to identify your related, oh, you skipped a slide there, thank you. So the next step would be to identify your related technical instruction. These are the classes that are going to reinforce the work experience. So once you've identified your occupation and you've contacted your consultant, you're going to figure out if you want to work with a community college, a technical center, or if you even want to build your own in-house educational program. Once that's been determined, you're going to create a work process. A work process is basically a structured outline of the activities and duties that you need your apprentices to learn. Once you've designed your work process, you're going to also develop a progressive wage scale. So what that means is, as an apprentice navigates their way through your program and as they become more skilled and more beneficial to your business, they're going to earn monetary increases to keep them engaged in the program. So they're rewarded for the more that they learn. And then last but not least, once you have all those steps done, then you identify your apprentices. Anyone that is either currently working in your industry or in your business, or even if it's a new employee, someone that you've just hired, you can register them in your program. All right, next slide, please. There are 5 steps to build a registered apprenticeship program. The first one is business involvement. So this is a company that basically wants to help reinvigorate the pool of talent, skilled workers. So once a business is interested, they're working with a consultant to build their program, and they've got their program built. They're going to work on building out their structured on-the-job training. So this is, again, is back to your work process. This is the structured outline that outlines everything that you need your apprentices to learn. Then you have your related technical instruction, which is the classroom experience that reinforces the work experience. And then we have the progressive wage scale, which is the rewards for skills gains. And then once you've completed all on-the-job training, you've completed all related technical instruction, and you've rewarded your apprentices accordingly, then once you feel confident in their ability to perform the job without supervision, and you feel that they're a skilled worker, then you can send their information to Virginia Works for processing of their national portable and industry recognized credential called a Journey Workers credential. Next slide, please. A lot of companies don't do registered apprenticeship programs because they think that there's a ton of work involved in it, and it's relatively simple. The program more or less runs itself. So just some of the benefits of the program is it reinvigorates the skilled workforce. The days of having the unicorn skilled employee walking down the street that you can hire at any time doesn't exist anymore. So it's up to us to train people. It's not up to the next generation. This is something that we have to address now, especially in skilled trades. The average age of a trades worker in the state of Virginia right now is in between 57 and 60. So between the ages of 62 and 67, people are retiring. We're already behind in the pool of skilled workers, and that's only going to get worse in the next few years if we don't take the reins and do something to change it. Another benefit is employee recruiting and retention. I see this firsthand every day, especially in my current role with Southern Air. I would say probably a good 50% of the applicants that we get on a daily basis, they're applying for our registered apprenticeship program. So people want to learn. They're wanting to work towards a career path and not just another job. The program also creates employee loyalty. We found that by investing in our employees, not only monetarily, but we're investing in them, teaching them an actual skill. These aren't just jobs, they're actual career paths. We also pay for their schooling to complete their program. If you invest in your employees, they turn around and invest that right back into the business. Of course, the program rebuilds the talent pool and upskills the employees that you currently have, and the programs can be customized. So let's say we have a company that wants to do an electrician program, but maybe they're a residential electrical program. Whereas here at Southern Air, we do more, larger construction, more commercial. they're definitely both electricians, but one path looks very different. So commercial looks very different from residential. They're still electricians. We would just write out our work processes to reflect the differences. So it's not a one size fits all program. When you build your program, you can build it to fit the needs of your business. It also increases employee morale. Employees that feel valued are more likely to stay with your company. It also increases safety in the workplace because you are spending the time and effort to truly train your employees. And best of all, it's free. It costs nothing. This is a program that has been a tried and true training model since 1937, and it costs absolutely nothing other than just the time that it takes to build your program. Next slide, please. So if you are looking for a consultant to start working on a program, you can either find them on the Virginia Works website, which is virginiaworks.gov, and then you can also find them on dole.virginia.gov/registered apprenticeship. And then I have also listed my name at the bottom, and if anyone would like my contact information, I'm happy to share that in the chat. And I think that's all I have. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me today, talk about registered apprenticeship.
Thank you so much, Sherry. That was very informative. Again, if possible, can you drop the link for the Dole, Virginia, for the registered apprentice, how they found a consultant? If you could drop that in the
Certainly.
chat for us, that
Sure
would be
will.
helpful, as well as your contact information if anyone wants to, contact you at Southern Air.
Yes, because I am still friends with all of my former colleagues. So if you need help finding your consultant, I'm happy to connect you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we're gonna move along. Up next we have Dan, and Dan works with the Blue Green Alliance, the legislative side, field, and communication staff to engage partners and allies within the Southeast in support of advancing federal economic recovery focused on manufacturing and infrastructure investment. Dan has experience in environmental advocacy as a former organizer and board member with the Ohio Valley Environmental Coalition, and as the interim director of Energy Efficient West Virginia. He's also worked in Southern West Virginia for over 3 years doing community economic development with the West Virginia Community Development Hub. In 2020, he served as campaign manager for a U.S. congressional candidate in West Virginia's 2nd Congressional District. Thank you, Dan, for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. And I first want to apologize that my camera does not seem to be working. Again, sorry about that, and to be like a disembodied voice giving this presentation, but I'll do the best I can. But yeah, my name's Dan Taylor. I'm the Southeast Regional Field Manager for an organization called Blue Green Alliance. We're a nonprofit that serves as a national coalition of both labor unions and environmental organizations, so coming together to figure out how do we solve environmental challenges, but also create good jobs that we know that people need. We can go to the next slide. And yeah, this is just sort of a sampling of who our current membership is. A lot of the big national environmental organizations, as well as a number of manufacturing and building and construction trades unions and other unions in the public sector. I'll talk a little bit first about some of our work with building and construction trades unions as it touches on energy efficiency. And we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So I think first and foremost of interest, building and construction trades unions. I think this dovetails nicely with the last presentation about registered apprenticeships, but there are a number of things in these trades that touch on energy efficiency work. 2 of these unions that are BGA members, IUPAT, which is the International Unions of Painters and Allied Trades. Their members, for example, do a lot of work around protective coatings and sealants. They do a lot of work around glass. One emerging technology, dynamic glass, is something that their members are doing a lot of work with. UA, the Association of Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, for example, their members do a lot of HVAC work, heat pump work, things like that. Other sort of relevant building and construction trades unions in this space, IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I think we all know the importance of electrical workers. Sheet metal workers, laborers, carpenters, the list goes on. I think there's a lot of overlap between the skill sets that the members of these unions have and energy efficiency work. And as it relates to registered apprenticeships, most, if not all, of these unions operate registered apprenticeship programs of their own. And these are jointly funded registered apprenticeship programs between these unions and their signatory contractors. So the union members pay into these apprenticeships through their dues. The contractors contribute money as well. And typically the union will operate the apprenticeship training program, and the contractor will create a job placement for the worker. So I think I won't get too into the details there. There was a lot of good information before me on that. But I'll stress that these apprenticeship programs can only train as many workers as there are job placements available for them. So the more work that the union contractors have, the more people they can accept into their apprenticeship programs. So it's good to see all of the construction work happening right now. It's good for apprenticeships as well. I also wanted to mention the public sector unions, specifically those that represent workers in what we call MUSH facilities. So that's municipal buildings, universities, schools, and hospitals. And that's primarily where our focus has been relating to energy efficiency. If you're working on a project there and there are union workers working in that facility, I really want to stress reaching out to them. They can be great allies on projects, as they're generally very supportive. Everyone likes savings on utility bills, better indoor air quality, things like that. So you have education unions like the American Federation of Teachers and the National Education Association. SEIU, for example, represents a lot of municipal workers in Virginia. So that's just some of the landscape there. We can go ahead and go to the next slide as well. I just want to talk a little bit about some resources that we put together in this space. So I mentioned MUSH buildings. We created what we call the roadmap to navigating federal funding for public buildings. I'll quickly read the blurb here because it's sort of the best description. So the 117th Congress passed a lot of historic legislation I'm sure we're familiar with that can be utilized for retrofitting MUSH buildings. These buildings we consider particularly important because they're essential community assets that represent big opportunities to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, improve health outcomes, build climate resiliency, and support and create good local jobs, all while addressing equity and environmental justice. So yeah, the roadmap is really to walk through all of the opportunities that we've seen there. And, you know, related to this, but not directly, I guess, sort of relating to energy efficiency, there are also the clean energy tax credits and direct pay that can be used to fund clean energy projects, as those are typically paired with energy efficiency efforts as well. So it gets into some of that stuff also. I'll drop a link in the chat after the presentation. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. I also wanted to mention some work the Biden-Harris administration is doing to ensure that the jobs created are good jobs through incentives and requirements attached to a lot of the federal funding. This is known as the Good Job Principles. There are 8 of them. They were established sort of by the Department of Labor in conjunction with the Department of Commerce, and now a number of other federal agencies are on board as well. But they discuss things such as fair pay and benefits, job security, skills and career advancement, et cetera. Highly recommend looking at the Good Jobs Principles if you're going after federal funding and sort of taking those things into account as you do that. And we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. I also wanted to mention sort of the job opportunities here and economic benefits center both on the manufacturing of materials used in energy efficiency and their installation. We have a great project at BGA. I'm not directly involved with it, but it's called buildingclean.org. It's a database for domestically manufactured building materials, includes things such as heat pumps, windows, insulation, etc. It's a pretty thorough database. Recommend checking that out. We actually have a staffer based in Richmond, Virginia, Linnea Morgan, who works on that. So if anyone has questions, I'm happy to put them in touch. And we've touched on some of the installation job opportunities, but just wanted to include this statistic, which I think talks about the importance of really of high quality job training for this work. Studies have shown that poor installation of energy efficiency measures often result in energy losses up to 50%, which is not good. So investing in a qualified workforce to install the technologies really ensures that we're reaping the full benefits of projects, and ensures that we have more future projects as well. And we can go to the next slide. Jobs in energy efficiency are increasing. I think we all know that, but just wanted to reiterate. Last year's U.S. Energy and Employment Report showed that there were nearly 2.3 million jobs in the sector, adding 75,000 positions from the previous year, which was the most out of any sector they tracked. Despite these gains, there's still some work to be done. The report said that women and Black workers remain underrepresented in the U.S. energy workforce. And I think in terms of registered apprenticeships, there's really a lot of work that can be done, and we're trying to guide some efforts here around increasing the use of and targeting registered apprenticeships to underserved communities, and making sure those folks can get into these programs and take advantage of the opportunities. I think a lot of opportunity as well, working with high school CTE programs and the like, making connections between those programs and apprenticeships and other workforce readiness programs that could, I think, really be a game changer for a lot of folks who are not seeing those benefits just yet, at least in the way that they should. So yeah, again, job surge, I think, is directly related to a lot of these new federal resources that we can and should be taking advantage of. And that's sort of been our primary angle here. I think that's my last slide. I forgot to include a slide with my contact info, but I'll drop that in the chat as well. And again, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Dan, for your presentation. That is the end of our slides. If anyone has any questions, please drop them in the chat, and we'll take questions now from the audience for our presenters. Oh. Do you have any questions? Okay. Okay, well, each of the presenters have provided their contact information in the chat. Feel free to grab that information. And I believe we are at the end of our presentation. Thank you for joining us. Oh, Jessica?
Yeah, echoing what Erica said, thanks for joining the breakout group. We are now going to move to an overall break. So we hope that everyone can come back right around 2:50, 2:55, and we'll continue with our programming. Thank you. It's not disrupting any form of